Once upon a time, there was a merchant who kept an eloquent and witty talking parrot in his house. The two were great friends, because they delighted each other's companionship greatly. One day, the merchant announced that he was planning a trip to India. He asked all of his household staff, including the servants and maids, what souvenirs they would like from the land of spices and silks. They all requested a variety of items, ranging from Kashmiri shawls to spices such as cardamom, cinnamon, and ginger. Before setting out on his journey, the merchant bid farewell to his cherished pet parrot and posed a question to it.
"What would you like me to bring back for you from India, my feathered friend?"
The parrot's answer surprised him.
"I seek no trinket or treasure, dear master. But if you should chance upon my kin in India, please convey to them my warm greetings and a message. Tell them that my captivity grieves me, and I long for the freedom they enjoy. Urge them to remember me, their fellow bird, and help me find the same joy in life."
The parrot's last request moved the merchant, who promised to do all he could to carry it out. He wrote down her words carefully in his ledger and set off for India, eager to fulfill what was now a sacred duty. On arrival in India, the merchant rode his horse deep into the verdant forest, looking for parrots to whom he could deliver his feathered friend's message. It wasn't long before he spotted a flock of brightly colored, boisterous parrots perched on a tree. He called out to them and relayed the message, as he had promised. But the response he got from the parrots surprised him. One of them fell to the ground, trembling and motionless, and the others fell silent. The merchant, alarmed and confused, asked them again for a response, but another parrot fell from the tree in distress. The remaining birds stayed silent, as if mourning the loss of their fallen kin. The merchant, shaken and distraught, realized that his message had caused harm and regretted ever having shared it. He suspected that the parrots he had spoken to were perhaps related to his own parrot, and that the sorrow of separation was a shared experience among them. With a heavy heart, the merchant completed his business in India, gathering spices and silks, and returned to his hometown. He went straight to his pet parrot, eager to see it and tell it of his journey. The parrot chirped happily, and asked the merchant,
"Did you bring back good news?"
The merchant hesitated, then spoke truthfully.
"I delivered your message, but it caused sadness among the parrots in India. They replied nothing. I fear that I may have done them harm, rather than the good I had intended."
The parrot exclaimed in disbelief.
"This is beyond the bounds of possibility. Parrots are known for their ability to respond. It's not in their nature to ignore messages. Parrots, with their refined nature, are more conscientious and compassionate than people. If you indeed conveyed my message, they must have replied."
The merchant replied,
"That is precisely what I told you earlier, but let us not linger on that. Instead, I shall offer you anything you desire."
"I covet nothing,"
replied the parrot.
"Yet, I must know what the parrots replied when they received my message."
"Since you insist,"
said the merchant,
"I shall recount the tale." The parrots did not utter a single word. However, when I delivered your message in grievances, one of the Indian parrots was overcome with grief and plummeted from its perch to the ground. The others remained silent. I reiterated your words and waited for a response, but another parrot fainted and fell to the ground. Eventually, I realized they had no intention of answering, and unfortunately, one of the parrots perished. I do not know if they were related to you, but they gave no response that could be comprehended.
As soon as the merchant finished his story, the parrot became aware of what had befallen its fellow avian beings. The parrot let out a deafening screech, trembled, fainted, and fell to the bottom of the cage. The merchant was heartbroken by the sight, and despite not comprehending the situation, he understood that the parrot was dead. He opened the cage door and laid the parrot on the grass. He regretted the message and its outcome. However, upon realizing that it was free, the parrot soared towards a nearby tree branch. The merchant was astounded and queried,
What happened? How did you manage to escape? You must inform me of the truth, for I have delivered your message.
The parrot responded,
Humans do not always act upon the advice they receive or take advantage of the words they read in books. On the other hand, parrots comprehend actions better than words, and we learn from them. Since you are an honorable person who accurately conveyed my message, I shall tell you the truth. In my message, I described my predicament and beseeched the Indian parrots for a resolution. They responded with a pragmatic lesson. Initially, they remained silent to make me realize that my sweet-tongued manner was the root of my problems. So, silence may be the key to solving the problem. Secondly, 1 or 2 parrots fainted, which was also an answer and a practical lesson. They implied that if you were a seed, birds would devour you; if you were prey, hunters would pursue you. As I had no claws or teeth and was trapped in a cage, I had to become useless, fallen, silent, unconscious, and powerless until I stopped yearning. Only then I would be liberated. A peacock is constrained by its beauty, and a parrot by its words. My beauty and sweet language were the curses of my existence. The Indian parrots instructed me to be silent and insignificant, and by doing so, I would come back to life and liberty. That was their practical lesson, and as you can see, I followed it and am now free.
The parrot finished speaking and flew away.